Here we go. Good evening, innovators, leaders, and change makers. It is truly an honor to be here with you today. Thank you, Dr. Lakeisha Ross, the brand boss of AI Institute Professional Development, for this opportunity. And I thank each of you for investing time in today's conversation. Oh, how much I thank you. Now, whether you're joining from your office, your home, your classroom, or somewhere across the world, because I did hear that we are across the world this evening, I am grateful that you're here. You see, because today's conversation, it isn't about artificial intelligence. It is about us. It is about the future we're creating and the humanity we must choose to protect along the way. Artificial intelligence is transforming nearly every profession, every industry, and every aspect of our daily lives. It is changing how we learn, how we work, how we communicate, how we solve problems, and perhaps even how we think. As an international certified AI consultant, I'm so excited by those possibilities. As a mental health advocate and as a school social work leader, I also recognize something that technology can never fully measure: the human experience. Our ability to care, to connect, to empathize, to inspire, to heal. Those qualities remain our greatest strength. That intersection where mental health or mental wellness, artificial intelligence, and human connection meet. The human algorithm. And you'll hear me say that several times throughout this few minutes that I have with you. And over the next 15 minutes, and those are the few minutes that I have, I invite you to think beyond technology itself. I invite you to think about the people behind the technology. Because while artificial intelligence may change the way we work, it should never change the way we care. So let's begin. The question we can't afford to ignore. One that I believe affects all of us. Well, we're living in the most connected time in history, yet many people feel more disconnected, overwhelmed, and emotionally exhausted than ever before. Think about it. Think about that for just a moment. Never before have we had this much technology, this much information, or these many ways to connect with one another. Artificial intelligence is transforming how we live, how we learn, how we work, and how we solve problems. And the pace of innovation continues to accelerate. And for someone who is passionate about both mental health and the future of artificial intelligence, I find that incredibly exciting. But it also leads me to this question. That is, I believe every leader, every professional, and every organization should be asking. And now, AI is changing how we think, how we work, and connect. So here's the question. What happens to our humanity in the process? That's the question I want us to explore today, because I don't believe our greatest challenge is artificial intelligence. I believe our greatest question is opportunity, is ensuring that as technology continues to evolve, our humanity evolves with it. And that's exactly why I created the framework I call the human algorithm. Before I explain what that means, let's take a look at the reality we're all navigating. And as we delve into that, I want to get into a little bit of the reality itself. Now, a moment ago, I asked the question, what happens to our humanity as artificial intelligence continues to reshape the way we live, work, and connect? Before we talk about some solutions, we first have to acknowledge today's reality. The reality is this: You see, artificial intelligence is transforming our world's extraordinary ways. In education, it is creating smarter learning experiences. Yes, it is. We can recognize that. And expanding access to knowledge. We can also attest to that. In healthcare, it's helping professionals diagnose conditions faster and making more informed decisions as well. In communication, it allows us to connect instantly across cities, countries, and continents as well. In business, it's driving innovation, improving efficiency, and helping organizations solve problems more quickly than ever before. Even in mental health services, it is allowing expansions to access and resources, screening tools, even, and support that simply did not exist just a few years ago. Let that land for a few moments. You see, these advancements are remarkable. They represent progress, and I believe they should be celebrated. But there is another reality unfolding at the very same time. While technology continues to advance, many people continue to experience things like burnout, as you can see displayed on the screen, anxiety, trying just to keep up with the constant change and the endless flow of information. Then there's loneliness, living in a world where we are digitally connected, yet emotionally disconnected. More notification, more emails, more content, more decisions, yet less clarity, and emotionally exhausted. Can you feel me on that one? The feeling of being mentally drained from always being on. This isn't happening because artificial intelligence is the problem. The problem is that technology is evolving faster than many people's ability to remain emotionally healthy, deeply connected, and mentally well. That is today's reality. Technology is advancing exponentially, but humanity must evolve intentionally. It requires awareness. It requires intentional choices. It requires leadership. And it requires us to remember something we often overlook. Technology can embrace how we work, but it cannot define who we become. So, if this is the reality we're living in, how do we ensure that innovation strengthens our humanity instead of weakening? That question led me once again to develop what I call the human algorithm. And that's where I'd like to take us next. Now, as I continue to delve into this, I landed on the big idea. So, if today's reality is that technology is advancing exponentially and humanity must evolve intentionally, the question then becomes how? The question led me to develop that framework once again that I call the human algorithm. When most people in the world hear the word algorithm, they think about something that we just kind of flip flop back and forth about. When you hear that word, you think about data, however you want to exchange that word, or artificial intelligence making decisions. But I'd like to invite you today to think about algorithm differently. Because you see, one of us already has an algorithm, not a technological one, a human one. The human algorithm is the internal system we use to process emotions, build relationships, make decisions, and regulate ourselves in a world increasingly shaped by technology. In other words, before we respond, before we lead, before we even communicate, before we make decisions, there is something happening internally. Our experiences, our values, our emotional awareness, our ability to listen, our ability to empathize, our ability to remain grounded. That is our human algorithm. Artificial intelligence processes information. Yes, it does. True enough. Human intelligence processes meaning. Artificial intelligence can recognize patterns. Human intelligence recognizes people. Artificial intelligence helps us work efficiently. Human intelligence helps us live more intentionally. When I think about human intelligence, 5 words immediately come to mind: connection, our ability to genuinely see and value one another; belonging, creating environments where people feel accepted, respected, and included. Then there's purpose, remembering that technology should always serve people, not replace them. Then there's trust, because every meaningful relationship, team organization, and community is built on trust. And then finally, compassion. Perhaps the most powerful form of intelligence we process. You see, the ability to process another person's struggle and choose to respond with kindness. Here's what I've discovered throughout my career. Whether I was supposed to or supporting students, working alongside educators, leading nationally, or now helping organizations to think differently about artificial intelligence, the greatest breakthrough has never come from technology alone. They have always come from human connection. Because you see, people remember innovation, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Which brings me to that simple truth: technology can improve efficiency, human connection improves lives. And that's why I believe the future doesn't belong to artificial intelligence. The future belongs to both, working together. Now hear me, the promise of AI. Now, before we can talk about what AI cannot do, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about what AI can. Artificial intelligence is one of the most transformative innovations of our lifetime. It is already changing the way we learn, communicate, solve problems, and make decisions across nearly every profession and industry. AI is helping us to work faster and smarter by taking on tasks that once required us hours of time. Increase efficiency. AI can automate routine work, streamline repetitive processes, and give us something incredibly valuable, which is time. Time to think, time to create, time to focus on higher value work. AI also supports productivity. Like, it can strengthen them by helping us organize our thoughts, generate ideas, summarize information, and improve the quality of our work as well. One of AI's greatest strengths is the ability to reduce information overload. Whew, I can just feel the heat from that one. You see, we live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with emails. I know reflections are feeling all over each and every one of us. The notifications, the reports, the endless streams of information. AI can help us filter through the noise so we can focus on what matters most. It can improve access as well. And perhaps one of the most greatest opportunities AI provides is expanding access. It can make information, education, resources, and services available to more people than ever before. Now, when used responsibly, AI has the potential to increase opportunity and reduce barriers. So here's what I want you to remember though. AI expands what is possible. Now, it helps us work smarter, true enough, learn faster, absolutely, and solve problems more effectively. And that is something worth embracing. But every powerful tool comes with an equally important responsibility. And that's where we're going next. So hold on. The responsibility of AI. And it does have a responsibility. We've just explored the incredible promise of artificial intelligence. AI can help us work smarter, solve problems faster, reduce being overwhelmed, and expand access in ways we could imagine a few years ago. Those are remarkable advances, absolutely. But every powerful innovation comes with equally important responsibilities. And I said I wanted you to hold on to that, and I do. But it requires something also. Technology alone isn't enough. It isn't. AI doesn't replace leadership. It requires leadership. It doesn't replace values. It depends on our values. And that's why AI requires more than powerful systems. It requires principled people. It requires ethics, because just because something can be done does not and doesn't always mean it should be done. It requires human oversight, because algorithms should never become substitutes for human judgment. It requires privacy, because trust is built when people know their information is respected and protected. It requires equity, so innovation creates opportunity for everyone, not just a few. It requires accountability, because technology doesn't make decisions in isolation. People remain responsible for the outcomes. And finally, it requires responsible leaders. Leaders who understand that the true measure of innovation isn't how advanced the technology becomes, but how responsible we choose to use it. Technology doesn't determine what's right. People do. AI cannot replace. It cannot replace. Even when all of the extraordinary capabilities, there are some things AI will never replace. AI can recognize patterns, but it cannot feel empathy. AI can process language, but it cannot demonstrate emotional intelligence. AI can generate recommendations, but it cannot exercise discernment. The wisdom to know not only what can be done, but what should be done. And perhaps most importantly, AI can simulate conversations, but it cannot replace human presence. Think about this for a moment, that we have changed your life. It can probably, or wasn't because someone gave you the perfect answer. It was because someone showed up. I want you to think about that for a moment. Someone was listening. Someone believed in you. Someone cared about you. No, no algorithm can replace that. That is why this message matters. AI is powerful. I don't take that away. No one takes that away. But people are irreplaceable. The future isn't a choice between artificial intelligence and human intelligence. The future is AI and humanity working together. Human algorithm. And you heard me say that time and time again because I want it to sink in. We've talked about what AI can do. We've talked about what AI requires and how AI can never be replaced. So the question again, and I have another, what do we need to strengthen in ourselves when we're talking about this or working with AI? That question led me to develop once again the human algorithm. So when I say that, I want to define it for you because I want you to fully understand me and feel me when I'm giving this to you. You see, the human algorithm is the internal system we use to process emotions, build relationships, make decisions, and regulate ourselves in a world increasingly shaped by technology. While AI processes information, the human algorithm processes what it means to be human. Let me break it down a little further for you. The H stands for hope. Hope is what helps us move forward when the future feels uncertain. AI can predict trends, but only people can inspire hope. The U represents understanding. Before we can solve problems, we must first understand people, their experiences, perspectives, and stories. Technology can provide information. Understanding requires listening. The M stands for meaning. AI can generate answers, but only we can determine purpose. Meaning is what connects our work to something greater than ourselves. The A is for authenticity. In an age of automation, authenticity becomes our greatest differentiation. People are drawn to what is genuine. Authentic leadership, authentic relationships, authentic connection will always matter. The N is for nurturing relationships. Representing nurturing relationships, every meaningful relationship requires intentional investment. Technology may help us to connect, but only people can trust belonging and lasting relationships. And when we bring all of these together, the 5 qualities come together: hope, understanding, meaning, authenticity, and nurturing relationships. You see, we don't just become better professionals. We become better leaders, better colleagues, better caregivers, better educators, and better human beings. That is why I believe the future doesn't just belong to people with most advanced technologies. It belongs to those who know how to balance innovation with humanity. Artificial intelligence, it may continue to evolve, but our greatest competitive advantage will never be artificial intelligence. It will always, always be our humanity. You see, because in a world becoming more artificially, your humanity is your greatest advantage. Now, I know I've been giving you a lot of information in these few moments that you've been with me, but I want to slow it down just a little bit here. And as I'm slowing it down, I want you to think of one person who has helped shape the person that you are. And as you're doing that, take a deep breath with me. Whew. I'd like just for you to just think about that person and call their name in your mind. For me, you see this person on the screen. That's my person. And her name is Terriyln Rivers-Cannon. I say her name each and every day. I think about her each and every day. She's the one person who saw something in me before I saw something in myself. You see, for me, that one person, when she saw something in me, was long before I became a national leader, long before I achieved my doctorate. She saw potential in me that I didn't even yet recognize in myself. When I doubted my abilities, she believed in me. when I questioned whether I was capable, whether I could do anything that I'm doing right now as I sit here before you. She reminded me that I was. She didn't define me, but where I was. She knew it before I knew it myself. She saw who I could become, quite honestly. And as I look back time and time again, I realized she gave me something that no technology could ever give me. She helped me see possibilities before I could see them for myself. Today, artificial intelligence can analyze data, it can recognize patterns, it can generate ideas, but it cannot look into another person's future and say, I believe in you. Sometimes one person's belief becomes another person's breakthrough. And when I think about everything I've accomplished, whoo, because the most meaningful relationship is in our lives and not built through technology. It is built through human connection. That is the human algorithm. I'm going to slow it down again, but I want you to let that land within you and reflect on it. I'm coming close to the end, but I got to give you a little bit more before I go to the end. And as I get ready to go to the end, I want to give you a challenge. And here's the challenge. I don't want to give you too much more work, but I want to leave you with this. And here's your challenge. I want to leave you with 3 simple actions that can make a meaningful difference in your life. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to connect this week intentionally. Reach out to one person, make a phone call, send a text message, schedule some coffee if you drink coffee. If not, let it be tea, or if it's water, if you select that. But be fully present when you're doing that. You see, in a world where we're constantly connecting digitally, genuine human connections have become our greatest needs. Never underestimate the power of making someone feel seen, heard, and valued. Then here's 2. Create one healthy digital boundary. Maybe it's silencing your notifications during dinner. Maybe it's putting your phone away from your bedside. Maybe it's protecting 30 minutes each day of uninterrupted thinking. Technology should support your life. It should not consume it. And 3, I want you to do a reset. Before reacting, I want you to just pause. Give yourself just 3 intentional minutes. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What do I need? What matters most right now? Those are 3 questions. Those 3 questions can change how you feel, how you lead, how you communicate, and how you care about yourself and others. Those are your challenges I want you to take in. As I close today, I want to leave you with one final thought. Artificial intelligence will continue to evolve. It will become faster, smarter, more capable. But no matter how advanced technology becomes, it will never replace compassion, wisdom, authentic relationships, or the human spirit. You see, technology is one of the greatest innovations of our time, but our greatest advantage has never been technology. Our greatest advantage has always been humanity. That is the heart of the human algorithm. My hope is that when you leave today, you won't simply think differently about artificial intelligence. I hope that you'll think differently about the incredible value of being human. Your humanity is your greatest advantage. Thank you for allowing me to spend these few moments with you today. I wish you continued success as you use technology wisely, lead courageously, and never underestimate the power of genuine human connection. May you continue to lead by advocating for what is right. Be leaders who serve others. Be innovators who embrace possibility. And above all, be human. Thank you so much.
You so much, Dr. Rossi. Thank you so much. Am I unmuted? Let me make sure of that. Yes, you can hear me. Wow, wow, wow. Guys, drop in the chat any part of that presentation that made you say, wow, aha, any food for thought. Please, that was, I mean, we needed that. And the human algorithm, I told